Hello and welcome to Digitally Unplugged. So, with the gaining popularity around the metaverse, Gartner predicted that by 2026, 25% of the people will spend at least 1 hour a day of work, shopping, education, social media and entertainment in the metaverse. However, as the world migrates towards the virtual arena, the crypto threat landscape has also got a new dimension in the metaverse. And to discuss about all the threats in the metaverse cybersecurity concern, we have invited two special guests. Let me introduce you to our first guest, Colonel Dr. Inderjeet Singh, Cyber Security Officer. He is a TEDx speaker and India's top 30 blockchain influencers. Sir, welcome on Crypto TV.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be part of the Crypto TV show today.
And our second guest is Deepika Singh, founder, DeepSight Cyber Labs, ex-fellow Maharashtra Cyber Police Department. Deepika, welcome on Crypto TV as well.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
So my first question is to Dr. Inderjeet is, in recent months, there has been quite a buzz around the metaverse. So everyone from startup, social media, gaming companies to IT services and even automobile company have joined the metaverse. So, and this space is also getting more attention. So what do you think, what is metaverse and why there is sudden surge in the interest? If you can just begin with, sir.
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. And, just to get you everybody on the board that metaverse is not a new concept. It is already there since quite some time. And it evolved basically in 1992 after one of the novels which are being written by Neil Stephenson. And that was the start point where he started calling that the Snow Crash as a novel. And thereafter, we saw a movie which came in 2013, that was the Ready Player One. That was the part of the metaverse. And the buzz which we are seeing today, right, it actually started after Facebook changing the name from Facebook to Meta. And thereafter, we are seeing so much of impetus which is happening all across in the metaverse space. So what really is metaverse, just to put in the right perspective, it's a fusion of physical, augmented and virtual reality, and the public virtual reality world can be accessed by the internet, right? So that's how the things are going to be. The material things in the virtual world are going to be accessed. You'll have the virtual currencies, you'll have virtual characters, it will be recreation of the things which you'll see and how you're going to get into it. So you're going to have, digital avatars, which you can use it to traverse online. And this will be basically identical to your real world, things which are there built on imagination or combination of both, right? And how do you really get into metaverse? So you're going to have virtual reality headsets and the digital avatars, that's you, who's going to really, allow you to get into the metaverse. And primarily, it's going to be a collaborative virtual world where currency can be used to buy, sell lands, building avatars, identities, paintings, everything which you possibly see, you're going to buy it there. And NFT is one of the currencies which is going to be part of it. So the metaverse is already happening. NFTs, we're already talking of. We are talking of the Web3, which is there. We already seen lots of games like Roblox, which are the games which touts itself as a metaverse corporation. So, and the musics in the metaverse. So that's how the really metaverse is really evolving right now. And we are seeing so much of things happening in the metaverse, and every day we are seeing something or the other, getting wrong in the metaverse. So you can have events, you can have a cafe. We saw a bank opening up its branch in that. We're seeing airlines getting into the metaverse. We're seeing the Space Force coming up. It's a real interesting world what we are seeing today.
It's a real interesting world, what we are seeing it today. That's what Colonel Inderjeet Singh has described about the metaverse. So what's your opening remarks on about this segment, which we are, since this segment is about the cybersecurity concerns in the metaverse. So we are trying to understand what is metaverse first so that we can build upon the cybersecurity concerns in this segment. Over to you, Deepika.
Certainly. The genesis of cyber attacks is proportional to the number of touch points that any user has. Now, following up to what Dr. Singh mentioned about having the world transcend into a virtual reality and augmented reality, and essentially transcending into a 3D space with certain 4D elements as well.
Fantastic.
So it's just now not the, you can say, renditions which are there in 3D, but also 4D elements attached to it, which are related to our five senses, that is sight, touch, smell, etc. Now, whenever cyber attacks are concerned, the more the touch points, the more convoluted the attack scenario.
Exactly.
And to be very honest, we are at a very nascent stage where even real life cyber crimes are concerned. So I think we are at an embryonic stage, rather a pre-embryonic stage, and it will not be an overstatement too, whenever it comes to the cybersecurity concerns. The main thing is with respect to the regulators and the lawmakers who are setting the guidelines, because if cyber attacks come, the lawmakers make an important role. They too have still not understood the concept. There's a lot of myths, and the myths are being driven by commercial companies who are looking to take the advantage of the buzz that has been generated to increase their valuations. So I think we have a long way to go, not only in understanding, comprehending, but also analyzing the potential threats when it comes to Metaverse.
So since we are talking about, sir, we are talking about cybersecurity concerns. So we'll start with our first segment. And my next question to you is, along with the extensive growth opportunities, the Metaverse comes with a legitimate concern about privacy. That's what Deepika has also highlighted. And data security, which is actually a big concern as of now. So as everything is built virtually in the Metaverse, you have beautifully described in your opening remarks, cyber criminals have plenty of options to hack the data and misuse it for their personal gains. So how do you want to explain the situation, sir?
So, if you look at the overall metaverse and how the cyber crimes are going to happen, and we're already seeing rape happening in cyber metaverse, we are already seeing the other type of crimes which are happening, bullying which is happening, frauds which are happening, fake NFTs which are getting onto metaverse. So those are the kind of things which are very important, which we need to really see it. And whatever the real life crimes are, they're all going to be there. In addition to that, the metaverse really raises concern about the three things, right? And I'll say that the concept of 3 M's, that's about monitoring users, you're manipulating the users, and you're going to be monetizing users. And how you're really going to do all that part of it. So you've already seen so much of things happening on the social media where, your data is being taken by all the biggies which are there, and they're earning $1 trillion onto that. So similarly in the case of metaverse, because you're getting on to the metaverse with the AR, VR, and the headset and the haptic, sensors which are going to be there. So in a metaverse, they can practically track what you do, where you look, what are you gazing at, track your gait, track your posture. They can monitor your facial expressions. They can have your vocal inflections which are there. Also, they can get onto your heart rate, your respiration rate, your pupil dilation. So all those kind of things. Now, if somebody gets control of it, he's going to really, monitor you, and he can get all the details of your life, your experience, what you do, what you feel, everything of that nature. So monitoring is a major concern. Thereafter, monetizing part of it, like we already seeing in the case of the social media, we are more of a product for sale to the advertisers rather than a customer. Similarly, in the case of metaverse, our data is going to be sold unless and until we have the right kind of privacy, right kind of policies, right kind of regulations which are going to be there with us. So these are the kind of challenges what we are going to see. Also, we're going to see the manipulation of your avatars which are going to be there. You can have a deepfake avatar which can be created because they already have your details of your facial expressions altogether. Right. So that's how they can use your facial expression. They can take your details. So real challenge when it comes to the metaverse when it is there. So we're going to see lots of crimes of that nature happening. Okay. And the other aspect which is very important is Like there are going to be different metaverses which are going to happen. So transversing from one metaverse to another metaverse is a challenge right now. How are we going to look into that? So those are the kinds of things which are a real point of concern.
So Inderjeet sir has highlighted many concerns and challenges. One of what I've picked up is the concerns over data being sold. So what is your opinion about this, Deepika?
To be very honest, in the metaverse, you can multiply the data points just by at least 10 raised to 3 to 10 raised to 4 with respect to what is the kind of data being collected today. And metaverse here is more of an intersection between our offline and online worlds. Rather, where right now only phone data, gallery data, our locations, etc. are being sold. But when we come to the metaverse arena, we are going to see our vitals, the data recorded, by our location trackings, the places that we are visiting, our conversations also. Because when we have certain smart VR headsets, let alone virtual assistants, they are tracking us day in and day out. So it is technically placing a 24/7 mechanical eavesdropping device around yourself. So this is something which is a little hazardous if not treated properly, and is a golden, you can say, opportunity for marketing companies who just want to crunch maximum amounts of data. Let's take any example with respect to a health brand that is only looking for people between age groups of 24 to 30 with certain ailments. This kind of data set is giving them the exact digital profile, rather giving them a humanoid version of itself.
Fantastic.
So this is something that we are, tending towards. And if the users themselves don't understand the repercussions of the privacy parts, if they are lackadaisical and being so romanticized, by the idea of metaverse, and it's actually a privilege for them to being on the metaverse, that is how users are behaving. But we are forgetting the fundamental rule, which earlier experts have also mentioned on the show as well, that if you are not paying for the product, you are the product or service yourself.
Fantastic.
And this is something that people should not allow them to be commoditized. So take strict measures.
Superb. A very important statement is coming from Deepika about if you are not paying for the product, you are the product yourself. So my next question is to you, Doctor, is another cybersecurity concern which we are talking about. Unique to Metaverse is the preservation of the virtual identity of users. So that's what Deepika has also highlighted. What's your opinion, very quick opinion before we move to our next segment?
So practically what is happening is you're giving your biometric data in terms of your fingerprint, you're giving your retina scans, you're giving your voice prints, you're giving your facial geometry, which causes a major privacy concern with the virtual reality headset, what you're putting it. And, the other challenge is the augmented reality, right? And there what we're going to see is how is the person or the company which is having your data or the augmented reality data, how they're collecting it, how they're giving to the third party, for what purpose are they giving it, what are the encryptions methods which are being followed by them for the same. So these are the kind of challenges which we are going to see with both AR and the VR, right? So these are the real security concerns which are emanating now.
So this brings us to our second segment, how to handle Metaverse cybersecurity concerns, wherein both the guests will answer many questions on. So my next question to Deepika is, should all Metaverse platform, first of all, what is according to you, is India prepared for this Metaverse leap? And how well it is placed to take advantage of this billion-dollar opportunity since we are talking about, but there are a lot of speed breakers ahead. If you can just highlight that.
Certainly. The idea of metaverse right now in India is very gimmicky. It is being used in 3D holograms. Our politicians also have used that in some aspect or the other. But right now, India is stabilizing itself in 2D crimes, if I may use the word right now. But we have a long way to go to assimilate what type of crimes may happen in the metaverse, let alone prepare the SOP for the same. In essentially, right now, compared to the other countries, and we've analyzed the same, the Indian privacy data laws, the PDP bills, the amendments to the IT rules with respect to the intermediaries have just come up. That is true last year. I'm referring to the intermediary guidelines. And here also the intermediaries have a major role to play. But unless and until the government scenario and the other machinery resolves those metrics, so that they'll be able to gain rightful redemption from these intermediaries. It'll be very difficult for us and especially consumers to register their complaints. More often than not, whenever we go towards the judiciary side, let alone the law
Fantastic.
enforcement side, corroboration of evidence will become a major problem. Because again, fabrication of evidence comes into the picture, thus leaving us to, sort of a situation where which of the evidences are true is very hard to point. And the perpetrators definitely, since they are more advanced, they will be looking to, outsmart this entire initiative.
So I mean, it's a fantastic statement which is coming in from Deepika, doctor, is about the evidence, something about the evidence she has highlighted about. So according to you, should all the Metaverse platform adopt a zero trust policy and trust nothing, validate everything? Or it requires a solid framework for the preservation of data, since we are talking about a lot of concerns in this segment, and we are here to highlight how to resolve this Metaverse cybersecurity concern. What is your opinion on this?
So it's very relevant, and the regulations will play a major role when it comes to investigating a particular case. We are also trying to talk of something like a meta cops in future, because that's how you have the cyber cops, which we really talk of, and preserving the data. That's a major function which is going to be there by the companies holding the metaverse, and then you have to have the governance around that, where you're going to have the regulators which will regulate what are the metaverses which are going to come up, what are the kind of digital forensics which can be carried out, what are the kind of governance issues which are there. So net, they have to have a regulation which is very strong. Privacy bill, which we're already looking in for India from the cyber perspective, we'll have to relook the complete privacy bill from a metaverse perspective, because when we look at the metaverse, it's a totally different ball game from what we are seeing today, right? Then is the identity related things which are there, and it comes up with how you're going to have the different identity management which are going to be handled by the metaverse companies, your data management issues which are going to be there, data tampering issues which I earlier brought it out, your privacy enhancement which is going to be there. So these are the kind of challenges what we are going to see, and we have to really overcome. And very rightly said that we are still in a very nascent stage of the metaverse. Fantastic. And the technology stack which actually forms a metaverse are evolving. Sure. Right? Like we talk about the Web3 and the blockchain, or we talk about the robotics, AR, VR. We are trying to work on all the stack parameters which are there, the framework which is going to come up. So once the stack is formalized, because that again is a challenge when it comes to the metaverse. So those are the kind of things which we are looking at. And the security, of course, becomes a major part of the metaverse while the framework is being drafted. Because most of the technologies, when they come, the security or the cyber security is looked at the last component of any framework. But here, I think it's going to be the most important factor, and that's how the most of the discussions are really coming up.
So, in order to solve these challenges, do you think that the inclusion of artificial intelligence and machine learning can improve the efficiency of the cybersecurity space, which is under a broader concern?
So, whenever we are coming to the predictive policing component of it, which slowly and steadily is also being impacted and adopted in India, artificial intelligence, virtual reality will play a very important role in order for data crunching, analyzing patterns, and analyzing the crime belts that are existing here. Crime belts, when I say this word, it includes the modus operandi, it includes the people who are involved into it and their tendencies, plus their background. So this will not only help us stay ahead of the curve, but also help us adopt a strategy which is known as red teaming, that is, simulating a crime before it happens, in order to prevent and maintain the defense mechanism to defend yourself against the crime. So this is something that if we adopt it in a very genuine manner by the experts who know and can design such a framework, and not just rubber stamps just for the sake of it, we will be in a very good position to align the forecasting solutions.
So since Deepika, Dr. Deepika mentioned about a few minutes back, she mentioned about some AR, VR headsets. So actually, this is the cause of many hacks as well. So how do How do you suggest our viewers how to prevent such kind of frauds and how to stay away from this?
Yeah, what happens really, there are lots of security risks when you are having the haptic sensor and when you're putting that head-mounted device. And if you distinctly work it out, the threats which are related to the augmented reality, they are quite prominent, and they actually pertain to the privacy of the user. And like I brought it out, these are the security risks which are kind of the user privacy if a hacker compromises AR device itself, right? And that's all possible today. How will the augmented reality firm use and safeguard the data collected from the user? So that's another question which always arises. And where do the businesses store the augmented reality data, right? What are the kind of places, how it is being stored? What are the encryptions methodologies which are being followed? And do the companies share the augmented reality data with the third parties? And for what purpose? Whether it's being commoditized or it's being sold to somebody else for some other reason. Now, the AR was one component, but the virtual reality at the same time also poses a similar kind of security risks which are there. And, these are the privacy issues in the metaverse, but then you have to understand that you are a vulnerable target in the metaverse. And your iris, your fingerprints, your scans, your voice, your facial geometry, your, eye dilation, everything is a risk in a virtual reality, and it really raises privacy concerns altogether. And also, it can lead to the ransomware attack. It can lead to identity theft. It can lead to other kind of credential thefts. So these are the kind of thefts which can happen. These are the kind of cyber crimes which can happen because of the augmented reality and the virtual reality, which are the key components of metaverse.
So we'll take a small break, and when we return back, we'll talk about privacy issues, identity theft, and flash impersonation with both the guests. Thank you so much and stay tuned on Crypto TV.